Hello, welcome back. Today, because of the support on our most recent video, we're doing a part 2. Because if you didn't know, my criticisms of the review was only about half of the actual video. So we're going to go through the other half today. Just to give you a real quick refresher here. This is a Doom the Dark Ages review made by someone called Outside Xbox, and we're going to be going over some of the criticisms I have of their review. With that being said, let's get into the criticisms I have of his review.
The reality is, you're playing a big game of Simon Says.
Are all awful Doom the Dark Ages reviewers like part of the same hive mind or something? Because him and Synthetic Man both said that it's like a Simon Says game.
And they didn't even solve the Simon Says problem. In fact, it's much worse in this game.
You're playing a big game of Simon Says.
But guess what? Every video game ever made is a Simon Says styled game, as that is called a rule and a solution. Hey, and if they're not in a hive mind, well, I guess you could say monkey see, monkey do. And I don't mean that to be like rude or anything. I mean like that's like an actual analogy. You see someone have an opinion, and sometimes you'll use said's opinion as your own. And I actually use that same analogy for Simon Says gameplay. Monkey see that blue light up, monkey press blue. Monkey see red light up, monkey press blah. My point is that you cannot name a single video game that does not go with the mechanic of having a Simon Says gameplay loop, as that's just something that has to exist in all games for there to be a goal. Even things like Pong, I would say, has a Simon Says loop, with the whole, you see the ball moving towards your area, you have to move your wall thingy to block the ball. That is technically Simon Says. It says, hey, ball coming at you, move wall to stop it.
There is some skill involved in this process, so
My brain is melting down. What do you mean? Yes, does it include skill or not? I'm honestly losing track. Do you think it takes skill, or does it not?
what you're mastering, what's giving you that feeling, isn't the challenge of a first-person shooter. It's rhythm action. It's Simon Says.
This is just completely wrong. It is not rhythm action. It is an FPS that incorporates rhythm action. And even if you were to say, no, this isn't an FPS, it's a rhythm game, well then, how come you call it in the title a FPS game that's not for people that are good at FPSs? Is not an FPS, then you cannot say it's an FPS for people that aren't good at FPS games. Either way, you're either just generically wrong, or you're contradicting your own statement.
There is shooting going on, but headshots certainly don't matter in the slightest.
And how would you know this? Did you compare at any moment of time? Or did you just shoot, be like, oh, it no insta-kill, it bad, it no do extra damage?
And as long as you're spraying bullets in the general direction of enemies and following the on-screen prompts, you're doing your job as a player.
What other gameplay do you want in an FPS game? Like, Guitar Hero? Just like hitting all the notes on your Xbox controller or something?
And that is why Doom the Dark Ages is great for people who typically suck at first-person shooter games and will get ruined within the first few minutes of a Call of Duty Warzone match or a round of Apex Legends.
Don't mean to be that guy, but are you talking from experience? It would be very plausible. Also, playing a single-player game on an Xbox controller is not going to be nearly as difficult as playing a multiplayer game on an Xbox controller against people that have far more sophisticated systems than you, and therefore automatically have a significant advantage over you. Maybe if you were playing on the same system, then that would be comparable. But because you're playing against people that are on better systems than you, that's not comparable, because you're just naturally going to be not as good as them. The creator of Doom has mentioned numerous times that Doom is not a game for people on Xbox. The same would also go for all other FPS games. And because you're playing on a controller, which is not meant for FPS games, whereas keyboards are meant specifically for FPS games, you're just going to be at a disadvantage, and therefore it's going to be more difficult against multiplayer. It is just not a fair comparison. He goes on to state this.
Perhaps Doom the Dark Ages is the perfect FPS for Xbox Game Pass, where players who might traditionally have bounced off the genre because of the old skill issue can give the game a whirl risk-free and probably feel good playing it, without needing to dead-eye bad guys at 100 paces.
So he said all of this just to rage bait, I guess. He likes the game. I don't even know, wanted to paint it in a negative light until the very end. Viewer retention or something? I don't know. And right about there is where I'm going to conclude today's video. Make sure to hit the like, subscribe, and comment. That helps a lot for me, so that'd be neat. And I'll see you all next time. I still suck at this.